And as Jackie just mentioned, the suspect in this horrific shooting, identified as Robert Bowers. Investigators combing through his background, including all his social media activity, which is extensive. Bernard Zapor joins us. He's a former special agent in charge at the ATF, now a faculty associate at Arizona State University School of Criminology and Criminal Justice. So, Bernard, going in, Bowers apparently tweeted that he's going to do just that. He said, screw the optics, going in, just before the shooting. He's got a full line in the social media full of anti-Semitic rantings. What is the line, and where is the line from this type of expressions to criminality to this horrific mass killing?
This is a historic hate in the United States. It's a historic hate from the 18th century forward, and it goes on. It's very reminiscent of activities that have happened even in the last 5 years in the United States. These type of shooters, particularly the anti-Semitic, often telegraph their punches with their rhetoric. Say pre-internet, it was other postings or attendance at meetings. We have to pay attention to this noise.
But how does law enforcement...
oftentimes it's actualized.
And how does law enforcement do that? You know, he was tweeting, well, he said, Trump's a globalist, not a nationalist. He didn't vote for Trump. He said there is no Make America Great as long as, and he uses a slur for Jewish people, as long as there's an infestation in his words. I mean, you got the seemingly neo-Nazi white nationalist language all over this guy's Twitter.
Law enforcement can't do it.
Say that again?
I'm sorry, sir. Law enforcement can't do this. This is a societal expectation of all of us when we pay attention to these things. And of course, there's so much of this out there. There's so much hate and noise. It goes to all demographics and ethnicities and religious beliefs. But there are times when we feel that things elevate. It's not necessarily preventative, but we have to take with the expectation that somebody could actually actualize this in terms of their weapons, they obtain them, their interest, some of the other things they post. Having contact with them sometimes is helpful, not always, because some of these shooters have been contacted previously before an act by law enforcement.
And how do we as a society, how do our political leaders, how do we tone down, you know, the rhetoric that we've heard, the extreme rhetoric to some that could be clarion calls to an unstable mind, whether you're talking about the type of language that is used, the tone that is used, the tenor, and actually vilifying groups of people, not the policies, but vilifying groups of people. Could that potentially have set Bowers off? And how do we try to tamp this down after what we've seen over the past week in this country?
Government will never be able to do this. Legislation will never be able to do this. This is a societal expectation. Us as neighbors, as friends, as co-workers. That's where it starts. That's where it's going to end. That's the only solution in time.
And in terms of anti-Semitism, we've seen a rise recently. Do you expect why? Do you have reasons for this? What is your thought in terms of what has sadly become a rise in anti-Semitism? We've seen what happens in France. Jews have been driven out, basically, from that country, many. And now here. It's
a significant level of hate. It has been in this country for quite some time. This particular movement in various forms, the neo-Nazis, the nationalists, the skinheads, their muscle for this type of activity traditionally, it exists in the sub-layers of society and it has been here for some time. It's very dangerous. People attribute all their ills, all of their own problems, their financial problems, their career problems to a specific group. And once they have that level of hate, then they feel justified.
Yeah, we don't know much about Bowers at the moment, but we know the suspect Syed apparently was living in his van, and he had all those stickers on the side, including, you know, a rifle scope over Hillary Clinton's face. Finally, as a law enforcement person, I mean, and you say law enforcement can't stop it. What can we as citizens do? How do we try and tamp all this down? Because this is going to sadly, tragically happen again and again.
I go back to the reference of the rabbinic sermon that says that after God made the angels and the beasts, he took soil and made mankind, and he gave us choice. There is no bottom to human evil, just as there is no ceiling to human goodness, as demonstrated with the officers who sacrifice themselves today. We have to take responsibilities for ourselves as individuals, as neighbors, and as citizens to stop all this.
And that is exactly what Rabbi Jeffrey Meyer of the Tree of Life wrote on October 9th. He wrote this: "There's a different type of flood the world needs. The inhabitants of this planet must flood it with goodness and kindness to wash away the evil that has arisen. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the lead story on the evening news was about something positive?" Rabbi Jeffrey Meyer of the Tree of Life Synagogue. We have no word at the moment about his situation. We can only hope and pray for the very best and for the families of those who have fallen victim today. Thanks so much. Arthel?